guys, welcome back to another video. In today's video, we're going to be doing an updated version of a betta fish care guide. Now, the reason I'm doing this is because there's so much misinformation about betta fish. They're amazing fish. They're beautiful. They're great personality. Yes, I am using notes, but it's like not plagiarism or anything. It's my own notes. So yeah, sorry if you do hear noise in the background. I live with a family. You guys are just going to have to deal with it. Now, if you're new here, hey, I am Josh, also known as MyZoo here on YouTube. I have a Discord, link in the description if you want to socialize with me more. Anything I talk about will probably be linked in the description. You're welcome to comment, you're welcome to like. If you do dislike, let me know why you did dislike this video. Now, let's get into today's video. So the first thing we're going to want to talk about when getting a betta fish, we're going to just start with the basics and work our way all the way up to eventually like the maintenance in the long term. So you're going to start off with getting a tank. Now, the bare minimum for a tank is a 2.5 gallon. Now, I would honestly recommend either a 5 or a 10 gallon, but if you can't go that big, a 2.5 gallon will be okay. But again, always go bigger. Bigger is always better. So if you can go bigger than 2.5 gallon, definitely recommend it. Betta fish are like super active. So if you can go bigger, go bigger. But again, if you can't go bigger, then just a 2.5 gallon will work, but it's just not good in the long term, so eventually upgrade. But yeah, so once you get your tank, you're gonna want probably some substrate. Now, we're gonna talk about different substrates. You can use gravel, you can use sand, you can really use even a bare bottom tank. There's so much different substrates. You can use like pebbles, anything you can really use with the betta. I personally either recommend sand or gravel, just because like the gravel kind of sets so the food can kind of like slip in between. This is good if you use planted tanks, but we'll talk about that in just a little bit. Now, if you're using sand, it's kind of harder because you got to gravel vac and like, but again, completely up to your preference. Now, after you get all that, we're going to talk about some of the equipment you're going to need. This should probably be before substrate, but whatever. Now, I personally would recommend buying like a starter kit, such as the top fin starter kit, all like the different starter kits. I'll put some on the screen right now. But yeah, there's a bunch of different starter kits. There's like Aqueon, there is aquaculture. There's so many different starter kits that I'd honestly recommend because they're so much easier because it comes with a heater and a filter and a light. Now, say you don't want to use a starter kit. Now, the filter I use is actually just a 5 gallon Betta filter. It's actually called that. But you can honestly use any filter. I have a 5 gallon tank for my Betta, but you can use really any filter. The heater I use is just a preset heater set to 78 degrees because Bettas are tropical and actually do need a heater. If they don't have a heater, even if your room stays hot, your temperature always fluctuates no matter what. It'd be a few degrees, and without a heater, some drawbacks can be ick. Your Betta can get sick and ill from all the fluctuations of heat. And I'm not even gonna lie to you, if you look back at my old Betta care video, I did not have a heater and that was the dumbest thing in the world. But guys, trust me, I got a heater now. Squirt's all set. If you guys don't know, Squirt is my betta fish who's been alive now for about 4 years, almost going on 4 years pretty soon. So that's absolutely crazy. Now, once you get your equipment, I'd honestly recommend a light, guys. So the thing with a light is it simulates a good day and night cycle. Now, you don't necessarily need a light, say if you're not doing a planted tank, which again we'll talk about in the next subject. You don't need a light, but I'd recommend a light. Like I said, if you buy those starter kits, they come in like a hood with the light, which is very helpful. And if you buy, you can buy lights separately, like there's clip-on lights, there's lights that like go across the thing. And now, before we even get into decor, you're gonna need one thing. Bettas love to jump, so you're gonna need a lid. Now, again, if you come with that starter kit, it comes with a lid, which is good. But if you don't, you can always buy glass lids. Now, they have glass lids, and then you can make your own lid out of acrylic. And then you can also make your own lid out of egg crate. So that's just up to you. Now, so you got your tank, you got your substrate in there, you got your equipment on there. Now it's time to fill her up after you add your decor. So what you're going to want to do for decor, it completely depends on what substrate you're using. Now, if you want to go for a planted tank, I'd recommend something such as Eco Complete, Flugel Stratum, or something along those lines. There's other substrates. You can do a dirted tank. But yeah, if you're doing a planted tank, that is something I would recommend. Now, if you're doing just a normal tank, like I said, we can do gravel and sand lizards that we already talked about. So let's just go for the example. You're doing a planted tank. You're going to get your plants. You're going to get your hardscape. Now, if you're doing a not planted tank, you're going to want to get your, like, decor. So you always want one hiding spot for your betta to just go and feel safe. You always want that in your tank. So you want one high spot to make your betta feel safe. And now you can see in my tank is a planted tank, so it have that big Amazon sword, that big Java fern that she can swim through. And then if you're doing a artificial tank, you want something for them to be able to swim through, but you don't want it to be sharp. Now, a lot of plastic plants I sell are really, really, really sharp, and it really annoys me. So you're gonna want to get one of those silk plants that they sell, just so they're softer when your betta swims through them and sleeps on them. Now, if you're doing an artificial tank, one thing I would definitely recommend is a betta hammock. My betta used to sleep on it all the time when I had an artificial tank. Now she just sleeps on the Amazon sword, so I didn't even bother putting it in. Now, you got your decor, you got your equipment, you hopefully have a lid because your betta will jump out. Squirt has jumped out before and it was not fun. So you have all your stuff like that, and now it's time to fill that tank up. What are you going to fill that tank up with? You can use any water as long as you buy this thing called the chlorinator. Now, what the chlorinator does is the chlorinator actually makes the water safe for your fish to swim in. Now, you're like, oh my god, can I add my fish now? No. You need to do this thing called the nitrogen cycle. Now, if you want to find a video more in depth about the nitrogen cycle, I'll link a video up here. I did not make it, but it is really good, and it talks about the nitrogen cycle, and it's like really, really, really good. So I definitely do recommend that, even though it's not mine, but I do recommend that. Now, the nitrogen cycle, a quick analogy on it is pretty much if you want to cycle your tank the right way, I'd recommend doing it this way, but you can also buy this thing called beneficial bacteria, dump it in, and then it's all set to add your fish. But I'd recommend doing it the cycling way. If you're setting up your first tank, it's kind of cool to see how the nitrogen cycle works. Now, let me just explain something. You want good bacteria in your water to fight off the bad bacteria, and right now that water is sterile. So what we're going to do is take some fish food, you want to sprinkle it in your water, you want to turn on that heater, you want to turn on that filter, and what is going to happen is that it's going to cycle. That's going to turn into ammonia, and then that filter is going to suck it up, and it's going to colonize in there and turn into good bacteria. So now when your fish poops in there, it will take that good bacteria, it will break down. And this process can take a week, but I'd honestly recommend waiting 2 weeks before you get your fish. Or, like I said, you can just get that beneficial bacteria, take a little bit and dump it in, but that is the easy way out. Now, you've cycled your tank, you've got all the decor, you've done everything right. Now, it's time for your big day. You're going to go get that fish. Now, where would you get that fish? You can order it online from a reputable breeder. You can buy it at, say, Petco, PetSmart, whatever. I don't, it's not a bad thing if you buy it at your local fish store. Again, I wouldn't recommend buying glow bettas because they're not actually injected. They were injected, like the first few ones were injected, and now they just breed. So, I mean, they're not bad, really. But the first ones were injected, but the new ones are not injected. I just wanted to make that clear because one of my older videos I did not make that clear. So the new ones are not injected, so you can go with a glow betta. You can really do whatever you want. You can get any type of betta. They have crown tails, veal tails, dumbos, koi. They have like so many different types of bettas. I'm not going to sit here listing them all because I don't want to. So, yeah. And now you've got your fish, you've got your tank set up, everything's going. Let's say get to the second week or the first week if you have a normal tank like that's not planted, and second week if you got a planted tank, and now it's time to do your water changes. And you may be wondering, what's a water change? You're going to need to buy something called a siphon. Now, you're going to need a siphon and a bucket. Now, the reason you're going to need that bucket is because you're going to put the bottom end of the siphon in there, you're going to put the top end you're going to put the siphon in the tank, and you're going to start sucking out that water. You're going to stick that siphon in the gravel to suck up all the debris, unless you don't have a planted tank, and you're going to suck out about 25% of that water, and then you're going to fill that back up with the chlorinated water, and you're good to go. Now, some daily maintenance might be a little algae scrubbing. You can just use a toothbrush for that. Obviously, feeding your fish, I personally would recommend bloodworms, freeze-dried or frozen, but flugel bug bites, the smallest one is a really, really good one. Aqueon Betta food is okay. But yeah, I personally would recommend those fish foods. And now you're all set. Now maybe you want some tank mates for your fish. Now some quick tank mates I can recommend is snails, shrimp, not ghost shrimp. I mean, ghost shrimp, probably not cherry shrimp. Bigger items like that. You can even do some other fish such as tetras and danios, but I'd recommend that more of a 10-gallon. You can do snails and shrimp in a 5-gallon, but on other fish, I'd recommend a 10-gallon. So yeah, this is pretty much the video. If you guys have any comment section, leave them in the comments down below. Now I'm gonna go spend about an hour editing this video. Now I hope you guys really did enjoy today's video. Again, have any suggestions, leave them in the comment section below. Any video ideas, leave them in the comment section below. And also, I wanted to let you guys know, I actually filmed this video 5 times and the clips got deleted so many times, but I am still here trying. So I just want to let you guys know the message of today is dedication. Do not stop doing what you're doing. Now thank you guys. This is my Zeus telling you, do your research and make sure you do your research, and I'm out on the next one. Peace.